For the past 8 months, kids in Australia have been banned on 10 social media platforms. That means no TikTok, no Instagram, no Facebook, no Snapchat amongst the list. The purpose? To protect young minds from predatory algorithms filled with sex and violence. Under this ban, social media companies must prevent kids from accessing their existing accounts and prevent new sign-ups for those under 16. Age verification can be done through official documents or by scanning the face for an age estimation. Social media companies can be fined up to 49.5 million Australian dollars if they are found to flout the laws. It's the first country in the world to impose the ban. In this second part of a Talking Point special, I'm here in Australia to find out how the kids are coping with the ban. So today happens to be the last day of school for some parts of Australia, which means the kids should have more time to use their phone. I'm on my way to meet 2 teenagers who also happen to be the target of the social media ban. Hi! How are you guys?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you. Wow, that looks amazing.
It is.
So before the ban, I was on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, and I had Messenger as well. And after the ban, nothing really changed for me. I'm still on all of the platforms.
I'm not.
You're not
on social media.
Okay,
I got kicked off Snapchat. I actually didn't want to do the age verifications. It wants you to either show your face or show your passport, and I just dismiss. And after too many times of doing it, it just said, you dismissed too many times and you're going to get kicked out, unless you verify it right now.
I was asked to verify my age, and when I scanned my face, they said that I looked older, and they said that I passed it, basically. So as in, I was able to keep Snapchat,
Okay,
and I was
so,
able...
so basically the app passed you because they think that you are above
Yes.
16 years old. Were you wearing makeup? Did you do anything to make yourself look more mature?
I had done my lashes, and I had just maybe a lip gloss on, which was surprising because I didn't think I would have passed that, but yeah. I felt a bit, ooh, am I going to get in trouble for this? But most of my friends actually had passed the verification.
Oh, and your friends are all below 16 years old?
Yes.
Do you actually think it's easier for girls?
I think it's easier for girls. Most of my friends didn't get kicked off. Some of my guy friends, they all got kicked off.
I don't think that's very fair at all. But yeah, some of my friends that look a bit older, what they have to do is like that, and it's just like, look left, look right, and then I was like sucking in their cheeks, and it's like, all good to go. And I was looking at him while he was doing it, and I'm like, this is so unfair.
We've read so many things in the media about how the kids are really good at getting around the ban. What are the most innovative things that you have heard of?
Let's say they've been kicked out of Snapchat and they have no way to access it because Snapchat does device bans. You can't access it on your phone if you get banned on your phone. I know people will maybe resort to a different device. So maybe they'll go onto their laptop and they'll search up like the Snapchat website and they'll log into a new account.
My friends would just go, hey Dad, can you scan your face on this thing? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll do the thing or whatever.
Are a lot of your friends still on social media?
Yeah.
Like how many percent would you say?
Like 85%, 90%.
Okay, you know how to bypass social media, so why don't you do it?
I have a strict family, strict enough to want to keep me safe, but I think it should be the parents' responsibility to know what their kid can and can't do.
Speaking to Alicia and Michael yesterday, I sensed that Michael's parents played a big part in keeping him off social media. So I want to know what Alicia's parents think about her being still on social media.
Hi, Diana, come in.
Thank you,
Just making some muffins.
So what do you think of Alicia still being on social media?
It's important in some ways because it's her social life. I know it's different to how we grew up, but that's it. They don't do phone calls, they don't have landlines and chat, so they text all their sending different things to each other on socials. It's also important because it's part of who she has been growing up. If children weren't able to talk to each other, they can't organise social events, they can't even talk about their homework. And I think it's really important.
Was that explicit permission for her to continue staying on social media?
A lot of my friends, other parents and we are all under the understanding that as long as the children have been using it wisely, and that they come to us if anything comes up that's inappropriate, we have that trust.
How did the social media ban work when it first started?
When the social media ban kicked in place, during that week, and all of a sudden I went to take a picture, put it on Instagram, and I was logged off. Alicia could actually access all of her accounts, but funnily enough, I actually got kicked out. So Instagram had asked for a picture of yourself to verify. For a whole week, I was banned off social media, but not Alicia.
You had to take a picture of yourself to prove that you are in fact above 16.
Yes, so I had to take a picture of myself to verify.
And you failed the test.
I failed the test.
So Instagram thinks you're below 16.
Apparently. I think they need to get the verification of the age right.
Do you think the ban has failed?
Yes, I do. I think the ban has failed. You have some people on, some not, and so therefore those who are not on are trying to figure out ways to socialise. If it had have been that everyone was completely off around that age, I think it would have worked okay.
So I have a 15-year-old, so I'm listening and learning because it may come down to me soon. And what I'm hearing seems to be that if it was a hard stop right from the very beginning, from the government's point of view and from the social media companies' point of view, that settles it.
I think it comes down to the social media companies. If they can get the age verification process working properly, that would work. And I won't be kicked off. So hopefully, if they can do that, it will change the way the process works and children on socials.
The social media ban may have been in place for the past 8 months. But 4 out of 5 kids under 16 in Australia are still on social media. The thing is, before the ban was rolled out, the government had commissioned an age assurance technology trial. More than 50 technologies were tested, including facial estimation checks. The trial concluded that this technology works. So why then are so many kids bypassing the checks? Before the ban was introduced, 85.9% of children under 16 were on social media. A recent study released by eSafety Commissioner, Australia's regulator, revealed that since the ban kicked in, there is a slight drop to 81.5% on age-restricted platforms. But here's the twist. A year before the ban was introduced, Australia commissioned one of the largest trials of age assurance technology in the world. They tested a variety of technologies, things like facial age estimation, which analyzes a person's facial features to estimate their age. Age verification, where users confirm their date of birth using an official identity document. And age inference, where they gauge your age based on your online behavior. The trial proved that age assurance can be done. The Australian government doesn't dictate which technology social media platforms should use. It simply requires them to offer users options to verify their age. So I'm meeting the man who co-led the trial. What exactly went wrong? So you conducted the trials for the technologies to check a person's age, and the technologies were deemed to be mature and ready to be used.
Yep.
However, we do hear of many stories of under 16-year-olds who managed to bypass these checks and stay on social media. Why is that so?
People just aren't getting asked to verify their age that often. When you're going through the account creation process, and 9 out of the 10 platforms, if you said you were 16 or 16 or older, that was it. You're on the system and away you go.
So you are saying that when they attempt to sign up, the social media platforms are not asking them, for example, to do a facial scanning?
Not from what we saw, no. I suspect that it's just not been implemented consistently or with any regularities.
How it's possible that a woman who's probably in her 30s or 40s can be deemed below 16 by the technology? Isn't that a failure of the technology?
Well, not really, because if you think about the law is supposed to prevent kids that are under 16 getting on. So if it denies someone getting on, then that's actually a positive. It is entirely possible that it could have been the lighting, it may have been when she was doing it. Sometimes if there's too much light, then it bounces off your face and that can alter the results that are coming back. It could be that there wasn't enough light. So there's a variety of different use cases or sort of scenarios where the age might come back and be inaccurate.
So I spoke to a 14-year-old girl who got through the checks very easily. I mean, she was passed by the technology as being over 16 years old. How could that have happened?
Well, so depending on how the implementation's done, there should be a buffer age. So 16 is quite hard in terms of the spectrum of age assurance. When you're younger, change in your physical appearance will change quite regularly. So what we had suggested in the report was that there'd be a buffer age put in, so that if the system said that you were 17, then maybe we should do another check because that 12-month sort of buffer. So it's possible that she did the test and it said that she was over 16 and there might not have been a buffer set, so she was straight through.
So it sounds to me that in the margin of error, the age buffer has got to be narrowed.
Should be tighter, yes.
Who sets the buffer?
So that would be between the social media company and the age assurance provider.
So is it a problem with the technology or is it implementation?
I'd definitely say it's implementation and configuration of the implementation.
Millions of people are signing up for all these social media accounts on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Is it even possible for the social media platforms to scan or to verify everyone's age?
I would say so. Well, they're supposed to take reasonable steps to make sure that children under 16 aren't on their platform, period.
Here we are, TikTok Entertainment Centre. In March this year, the Australian government threatened to sue 5 social media giants, including TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Snapchat. These companies are currently being investigated for failing to uphold their legal obligations to keep kids off their platforms. The Talking Point team reached out to the 5 social media giants to find out why children are still getting in. TikTok responded that no single age check is foolproof, but it takes its obligations very seriously. The remaining companies did not respond. Unlike Malaysia, social media platforms don't need a license to operate in Australia. The government can still take action, of course, but enforcement gets tricky. The regulator has to prove in court that these companies aren't doing enough to keep kids off their platforms. That's why Australia is giving the regulator more power, such as compelling companies for their internal records and emails. The maximum fines for social media companies will also be doubled, from 49.5 million Australian dollars to 99 million Australian dollars. There is, however, one active court battle going on with regards to the ban. This is against the government and is not by social media giants.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you so much, it looks great.
Okay. Now, I want you to light the top layer of this cake.
Old enough to be on social media. So cool.
Noah Jones isn't your typical teen. At just 15, he is legally challenging the Australian High Courts over the social media ban. You are already turning 16, so why still challenge the law?
The legislation has always been a terrible idea. Like, banning the kids has never been the correct solution for it. What we should be doing is attacking the bad, harmful content on there that they're protecting the kids from. By banning us, they're not getting rid of that content, meaning that, you know, a vulnerable 17-year-old who's over the ban limit is still exposed to that explicit content. It means that it's still out there. It's unsafe for everyone, no matter what age you are. There are benefits to social media, like the inclusiveness, you get news on it. Like, I was surfing last week. I didn't actually know that there was a shark in the water, and I saw later that day on social media there was a shark. If you didn't have that open to you, then you could have not known that the shark was there. You might have gone for a swim.
What do you think are your chances of winning?
Probably 50-50 chance. But even if we lose, it's not the end. We're not just going to give up all of a sudden, because we still want kids to be safer online, and they're not safer online with a failed blanket ban.
In what way has the blanket ban failed to you?
First of all, it hasn't banned me. On Instagram, I was asked to verify my age. I scanned my face. It said that I wasn't old enough, so I just made a new account. On Snapchat, I scanned my face. It said I was old enough, and I never had to do anything again.
The proponents of the ban would argue that it's had an impact on mental health of youths, and there's also the cases of cyberbullying. Isn't there something to be said for that?
If you haven't been on social media your entire life, and then 16, magically you get that privilege, then you get bullied online or a predator approaches you, you won't know how to handle that situation because you haven't been shown how to navigate social media. And that's exactly why it should be up to the parents to decide when you go on social media, because then your parent guides you and tells you how to handle different situations. It should be more advertised in school what to do, and the social media companies themselves should make reporting and explicit content a priority.
Is all that attention pulling in more girls?
Sadly, no.
Well, here's what I think. The fact that a 16-year-old like you can stand up for what you can believe in and draw attention to the issue is already a small win, so good job.
Thank you.
Personally, I can see that there are benefits to social media. My kids refer to YouTube videos for tutorials, for example, and my youngest has been inspired to be a home baker. On the other hand, I find it annoying when they are brain rotting, scrolling through meaningless videos endlessly, and there's just no way for me to supervise them 24/7. I've learned that Australia's social media ban is not a silver bullet, but it has changed the global conversation on protecting children online. As a mom of teenagers, I am aware that some safety features have been put in place by the social media companies. For example, filters that limit young people's exposure to explicit and violent content, and controls that restrict unwanted comments and interactions. But even with all the safety guardrails in place, a recent report on the impact of social media usage on young minds revealed this. The government-appointed panel found that 1 in 6 of young people aged 10 to 24 in Singapore showed signs of problematic social media use. And such problematic use is associated with issues such as depression and anxiety. 1 in 5 aged 15 to 35 also reported being cyberbullied. And yet, the same panel advised against blanket age restrictions on social media. I'm meeting Carol soon. She spent years studying how governments and social media platforms manage online harmful content to keep users safe.
As of now, there is no way a complete ban can work because users who are underage can easily borrow the IDs of someone who's older and start an account. In Singapore, what matters to us here is, when it comes to child safety, is to mitigate children's exposure to toxic and harmful content like bullying content, content that promotes sexual violence, content that promotes self-harm, suicide, and sexual abuse. So with these priorities in mind, we can then set the very clear red lines for the different social media companies that have a big market in Singapore. And we can then discuss, okay, these are our red lines. What can we do realistically to ensure that you can effectively mitigate our children's exposure to these kind of content?
Singapore has made it very clear that we want to stop the doom scrolling, the infinite scrolling. How can that be done? That is a feature of the platform itself.
Well, let's think about it. These features are put in place for a specific reason, right? It's to attract traffic and to get users to spend as much time as possible on the platforms. In a way, they are designed to make it difficult to leave because all these behaviors become so automated. So these are design features that are deliberately incorporated into the platform. So if they can be introduced, they can be tweaked. So given the amount of attention that social media companies are receiving right now in Singapore and in some other jurisdictions, they are compelled to look into these addictive features.
But their business is built on the number of users as well as engagement. What incentive would they have to stop infinite scroll?
But because they're profit-making companies at the end of the day, they too need a certain nudge to do what they are supposed to do. So also what will help shift the needle is when more regulators around the world roll out laws to require social media companies to take very specific actions. And in order to be accountable to their shareholders, social medias are likely to be pressured to do what they have to do so as to not incur losses through fines.
So in some countries, social media companies are licensed to operate. Is that one way to go?
Of course, licensing is one way, but we need to think about its effectiveness, right? Is it even feasible to license social media companies? Should they not fulfill certain requirements? Are governments really going to strike off their licenses? Think about what will happen when that happens. You are talking about everyone not being able to use a social media platform, including adults, micro-entrepreneurs, small, medium-sized enterprises who need social media to eke out a living.
At the end of the day, social media companies are profit-making entities. Why do we expect so much public responsibility from them?
The hard truth is to provide the platform where millions of people every day turn to and engage in all kinds of activities. And hence, social media companies, also because of how they're designed to keep people in, would need to think about what they can do to make the place or the platform a safer one for all.
In Singapore, addictive features such as autoplay and infinite scrolling are coming under scrutiny for young people. Our playbook may be different from Australia and Malaysia's social media restrictions. We may not be stopping all kids from having their own social media accounts, but rather we're hoping to change the way social media platforms function for these kids.